I think Demi Lovato is now a they, which that whole thing upsets me. If you want a gender neutral pronoun, just use it. Don't use a plural pronoun. Who are you, the Queen of England? So whatever. I don't like it. Whatever. That's something else. But the point that I'm bringing out here is that she's really teaching Dr. Greer's teachings about this. And Dr. Greer, I don't know if he's as aware of the indigenous nature of these beings, although he's explored and been in contact with various civilizations. But again, I don't know how many of them are fooling him and trying to make him believe that it's really somewhere else, when he's very fundamentalist in his teachings, to the point where he seems to be basing what he says on his experiences in a very serious way. I'm rambling on a bit, but I want to get back to some actual Torah sources on these things. So again, for the most part, though, the Talmud talks more about demonic hauntings than ghost hauntings. But ghost hauntings are well known in later Kabbalistic literature as well. Both that a dibuk could attach itself even to an item, and not only that, but there is a certain amount of animism within the tradition of our sages. That every blade of grass has a mazel to tell it to grow, and it's often translated as a malach. Meaning there's an angel or some kind of a spiritual force behind everything in the universe. All physical matter has some spirit to it, behind it. But I want to take things a little further. I know the Satmar Rebbe, Satmar Rav Zechusei Galeni Malchus Yisrael Rabbi Yoel, Rabbeinu Yoel Zechusei Galeni, he said he discouraged people from visiting concentration camps, and he cited the Zohar that says that one should not visit places where a lot of murders and bloodshed took place, because they are haunted by demons. I have to look at the Zohar inside. It might say both the demons and the ghosts and the spirits. The truth is, I work in mental hospitals and prisons. These are very haunted places, and I tend to be sensitive to a lot of these hauntings, and a lot of people are. Particularly, like the prison where I work was a mental hospital for 100 years, and so there's a lot of negative energy in that building. But you have to know how to deal with it, because it's part of life. That's where I make my living. So, and in general, like, why are you going? So for me to enter this prison, which is very obviously haunted, I'm not entering it for entertainment. I'm not entering it out of mere curiosity. I'm entering it to do a job, to do chesed, to do kindness to living people who are living there, but also to do kindness, to perhaps to make tikkunim and so forth when I'm making brachas for the neshamas that are there as well. So I would say, with that being said, we have to be attuned to this. We have to be sensitive to these things, and not take things in the wrong way. And if you are going, let's say you want to visit a place like this for an express purpose of, in addition to perhaps whatever curiosity and educational aspects of entering such a place, and even entertainment that is part of it. But if you're going to make a tikkun for these neshamas, even in a simple way, even if you're not sensitive to these things, but if you're told that this place is haunted and you're going to recite, maybe quietly, nobody has to know about it, in the tour, you're going to quietly say a verse or a chapter of the Psalms, a Kapitel Tilim, or a Mishnah that you know by heart, or something, Rabbi Chananya ben Akasha Omer, just for the sake of making a very simple tikkun. And for these things, there's no need to exercise these things that are there unless you want to make a tikkun from them. Meaning there's two types of exorcisms. There's an exorcism just to get something to leave, but if that's where they live, you only want them to leave if you're going to send them somewhere better, right? That is perhaps where they really belong. So if you're going to do that through making a tikkun like that, that would be a good reason to go visit such a place. But like we mentioned, when it came to, do I only have, is my light out here? I'm not sure, I think it's just the reflection there. When it comes to, like how the Satmar Rav spoke about not visiting the concentration camps because of the worry of the danger that one would face from the demonic forces that are there. And the Satmar Rav was a much greater master of these things than any of us. So, and in a very humble way, and he didn't advertise this. He didn't like to do these spooky types of things because there was a time when he was brought to visit another Rebbe, and this Rebbe was doing like spooky type stuff, and Satmar Rav he said Yossel nemecher ausfundu. He said to Rabbi Yossel Ashkenazi, to his secretary, his Gaba, he said, Yossel, get me out of here. I can't be here with this weirdo type stuff. He didn't have much patience for that type of stuff. So and that's why I'm not going to mention what this Rebbe was. It was a great Rebbe, a very holy person, but it was a different type of approach. If someone wants off record, they're going to ask, is it this Rebbe, that Rebbe? I'll tell you who it was. Not a very famous one, It's not if you're not familiar, like in Borough Park and stuff, you probably wouldn't know who I'm talking about, but a big tzaddik. I'm not saying this to be negative, but just to show there are different approaches. But Sof Kol Sof, in a very quiet way, the Satmar Rav was Isaac in these things. Just he did it in a way that he didn't make a big show about it, and that was kind of the difference between like this other Rebbe who we're mentioning, who kind of made a very big show about making these tikkunim and neshamas and things. Satmar Rav was Isaac in this, in a quiet way, which is in a certain way why I'm a little nervous about even talking about these things publicly. But we're entering into a time in history, I feel that it's important to talk about these things again, because a lot of people are involved in a lot of these things and don't have really Torah guidance. And really, if you really want someone that is an expert in these things, that if you want to ask me, who do you talk to about this, I would reach out to Rabbi Bart Tzadok. Even though he's a very busy person, he doesn't have a lot of time for these things, but he would be the person to really reach out to as far as how to be involved, and he wants to spread a lot of these teachings. I bought his Sefer, which I highly recommend, called Let There Be Knowing, and I've had a lot of issues trying to get through it because, Baruch Hashem, I have a very big amount of learning that I try to do every day, at least for me. Maybe for other Rabbonim it's small, but I Baruch Hashem, I've been keeping to my starim, and I don't have as much time for other things once I finish that, and I need to rest and relax after that and do my work as well. So, and even now making a YouTube video, this is 37 minutes. I could have been learning my Gemara and Mishnayos and things, and I'm going to be busy at work today. So, but I'll make it up later. God willing, I hope, I pray that I'll be able to do it. But all these things make tikkunim, very famous, from the Ariya Kodesh about Birkas Ilanos, that that you're making a tikkun for the neshamas that are in the tree and so forth. And so today's my Alter Zayda's yard side, which will make a tikkun for his neshama, Yitzchak ben Reb Baruch. He's buried right by Reb Shaila Karastir's brother in Staten Island. So it's a very significant, kesher in a sense to a certain tzaddik that he has a brother who's buried right near my Alter Ben Zayda, and I'm named after him. My Hebrew name's Yitzchak. People call me Yosef because my English name is Joseph, but no, that I was baptized as Joseph, but I wasn't. By my bris, they gave me the name Yitzchak Zev, and it wasn't after Bris Garav. It was after my Alter Zayda Yitzchak Schwartz, Ignat Schwartz, whose yard site is today, and it's interesting. My one daughter is named after his wife, my Alter Baba. Her Hebrew birthday is today, so there's a lot of connections there. So nothing's a coincidence. So, but the main thing is to do things in a very natural way, and that's I think the point. Mentioning the Satmar Rav and this other Rebbe, that the Satmar Rav did everything in a very natural and normal way, to the point where, though he conducted himself, he didn't visit cemeteries for a similar reason. In the Ariya Kodesh, he didn't go to funerals. And I was at a funeral where Reb Zalman Leib, one of the current Satmar Rebbes, did the funeral. He said the hesped outside. He said the eulogy outside the cemetery, and then the family and whoever else went into the cemetery, but the Rebbe didn't go inside. He's not a Kohen, but that's an Indian that the Satmar Rav had. I don't follow that, and most of the Satmar Hasidim don't follow that. But there's such a thing, and there's a lot to that along those lines. But one thing in particular, like the Satmar Rav would not eat fish if it wasn't Shabbos or Yontiv or Rosh Chodesh or something, or Chol Moed, Purim, whatever. He wouldn't just eat fish on a regular day. And one day he was served fish on a regular weekday, and he didn't want to eat it. And then they told him it was the yard side of Shinover Rav, and he was uncomfortable with it, but he ate a little bit of it to make whatever small tikkun he could. But he said he felt like he could not accomplish the tikkun through eating fish on a regular weekday. It's untenable for most people to do that, because you need some kind of protein. You're traveling somewhere, and tuna fish is easy to come by, kosher, or some other fish. So it is what it is. But that shows that he was very busy. But he would eat chicken during the week, and on the chicken he would make the tikkun, right? It shows, that there's certain inyanim about these things, but it was a natural, normal part of his life, and not something spooky, not a big show. And so too, if you're going to be Isaac in these types of things, in your own way, that would be the way. Meaning, if you're gonna visit a place like this, still height, say a kapitel tilim, or even a pasuk or something, to make that tikkun. And also say a prayer of protection, and particularly Psalm 91 is useful both for your own protection and for the tikkun on these neshamas. Thanks for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe. Comment. We'll see you later.